I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Come on, baby, don't you wanna go? Back to that lemon light city, sweet home Chicago.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine show with the greatest cameraman around, Sonny Hirsch, and your host, Avi Myers.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Myers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine. Thanks for joining us. You can catch us on YouTube or Community Policing, we're big on too. But we're going to get right to the meat of the matter now. It is judicial season, and that is one of my favorite seasons of all. And we are endeavoring to bring you as many different judicial candidates as we can and let them present themselves to you for your consideration. And it is a pleasure to have an appellate court justice who is running for election to the appellate court, and that is Shelly Harris. How are you?
Nice to meet you, Avi.
First of all, my pleasure. And you're originally from this neighborhood, you were saying.
Oh, absolutely. Born and raised in West Rogers Park.
Yeah.
Went to Boone School, and my family eventually moved out to Skokie, and I graduated Niles Township High School many years ago. Went on to University of Illinois, Navy Pier for a year, but I ultimately graduated from the University of Arizona with a business degree.
Wow. So what led you into the legal profession?
Well, when I returned to Chicago from Arizona, my dad said that he would sponsor me through law school, but it had to be in Chicago, although I would have liked to have had, at that time I was enamored with Arizona. But be that as it may, I went to John Marshall Law School, and I told my dad he didn't have to sponsor me through law school because I'm a guy who worked his way through law school by being a teacher with the Chicago Public Schools.
Nice.
I taught 8th grade and special education classes at Kosciuszko School, which at that time was located on North Avenue and Ashland Avenue in Chicago. Immediately after getting my degree in law, JD degree, and passing the bar, I had this passion to become a trial lawyer. That was my goal. I wanted to be a superb trial lawyer. So I took a job with the Legal Aid Bureau of Chicago, which you may or may not know represents primarily indigent people, people who are poor not only financially, but in a lot of other ways they are poor people. But working for legal aid, I was given a trial room the very next day.
Wow.
And for the next 3 years, that's all I did was try cases for people who were involved in need. They're people who, such as women who needed child support from fathers who were not paying, people who were being wrongfully evicted, people who were wrongfully being garnished with their from their wages. So every day of the week for 3 years, I was in court battling and arguing for people. And it was a tremendous school for me to become a trial lawyer. After legal aid, I formed my own practice. And for the next 25 years, I represented people in divorce, contract actions, businessmen, but primarily I tried to involve myself in representing people who were engaged in some life-altering situation that they couldn't themselves handle and they needed help. I felt that as a lawyer that was my duty, and as a result I represented primarily people who were hurt on the job seriously. They had lifelong injuries, but they were being stretched out by insurance companies not getting paid. People who experienced devastating injuries, lifelong injuries and other matters, but they were being denied their payments by by insurance companies and the people that should have been compensating them. And I also represented businessmen that were in trouble. I handled bankruptcies. Quite frankly, for 25 years in private practice, I tried either in jury cases or bench trials, every type of civil action that you can imagine. There isn't any part of the civil law that I feel that I'm not competent with. The only case I've never tried patents. I never had a patent case in my life. I don't know anything about patents. But other than that, I feel that I'm a very knowledgeable attorney in that regard, which led, in the year 2000, I got a call from one of the Supreme Court justices. And as a matter of fact, he was a judge that I had tried many, many cases before. And he said, Shelly, we have a vacancy in the courts. We need a good circuit court judge. Please consider it. And how can you say no? I think every trial lawyer has the dream of being a judge. And I went for it, and for the next 10 years, I served in almost every courtroom at the Daly Center. I have presided over hundreds of jury trials and bench trials on every type of case that you can name.
Wow. And that's 10 years in circuit court?
Right. And then it was 3 years ago. For the last 3 years, I've been working as an appellate court judge in the Appellate Court of Illinois.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about how the difference between the appellate court and the circuit court?
Well, in the circuit court, you sit very neutrally, unbiasedly, and you let the litigants proceed with their case. And if it's a bench trial, after it's all over, you render a fair, reasonable decision. You make sure everybody's had their day in court. But in the appellate court, what you're doing is correcting mistakes. Cases only come to the appellate court when one of the parties feels that the trial court committed a reversible error and they want a new trial or new relief. So in the appellate court, you sit in panels of 3 with 2 other judges and you listen to an argument. If you grant an oral argument, you may decide the case solely on briefs. But after reading the briefs, having an oral argument, if you're convinced that the trial court did commit a reversible error, then it's your duty to send it back for a new trial.
Very good.
You don't have any trials in the appellate court. You decide the matter on a legal basis as to whether or not there's been a reversible error.
And
I wanted to say before
Please.
that I was appointed to the appellate court by the Supreme Court based on merit. And I was appointed to a vacancy that lasts until the next election. And the next election is going to be March, and I've decided that I want to continue on the appellate court. I've been doing good work there. In the last 3 years, I have authored over 140 opinions,
Wow.
which is really an incredible number. So I feel that I'm doing a good job and I want to stay. Now, last year, Joseph Gordon, who was a brilliant jurist on the appellate court, passed away. Joe Gordon had a profound knowledge of the law, and he's sorely missed on the appellate court. His vacancy is one of 3 that exists, and I've decided that based upon what I understand the candidates for the court for that position to be now, it could change. We're taping in mid-November. We really will not know until December 2nd who is going to be on the ballot. But based upon those people I project will be on the ballot, I feel I'm the most qualified, the most experienced, the best person to replace Joe Gordon on the appellate court.
And we are running out of time, but I do want you guys to know that I've had a number of judges highly recommend Judge Harris to me. And very good sources, and that's, I think a lot of those kind of recommendations. Do you have a website?
I not only have a website, I have a visual aid. My website is harrisforjustice.com. It's all one word, no spaces. And it's unique in one respect. Not only will you see my biography, you'll see my history. I have provided on that website a link to every one of the 140 opinions that I have written. I want to run on my record, and I urge the viewers to go to the website, read those opinions, and see if I'm the kind of judge that you want to keep on the appellate court.
Judge Shelly Harris, thank you so much for being here, and good luck in the election.
Thank you, sir.